a rock legend, a power-tripping security guard, and one terrified teenage fan caught in the middle. What happened next would make headlines for weeks and prove that sometimes real heroes don't wear capes. They wear leather jackets and have wild hair. But before we get to the explosive confrontation that changed everything, let me take you back to where it all started. It was a humid summer evening in Detroit, 2019. The Pine Knob Music Theater was buzzing with anticipation. Thousands of fans had gathered for what was supposed to be just another stop on Ozzy Osbourne's farewell tour. But this night was going to be different. 17-year-old Marcus Chen had saved every penny from his part-time job at the local pizza shop for 6 months straight. Months. He'd skipped movies, turned down hangouts with friends, ate ramen for lunch every single day, all for this one moment. His dad had passed away 2 years earlier, and Ozzy's music had been the only thing that helped him through those dark times. Tonight wasn't just a concert, it was everything. Marcus stood in line, clutching his ticket with sweaty palms, wearing his dad's old Black Sabbath t-shirt that was 2 sizes too big. His heart pounded with excitement. He was finally going to see his hero live. But there was someone else at that venue who would soon turn his dream into a nightmare. What would you do if your one chance to see your hero was about to be ripped away? Enter Derek Hannigan, a security guard with something to prove and a chip on his shoulder the size of a boulder. 6'3", built like a linebacker, with a permanent scowl etched into his face. This was his 3rd venue job in 2 years. He'd been fired from the previous 2 for excessive force, but somehow he'd slipped through the cracks again. Derek hated these rock concerts, hated the music, hated the fans, and most of all, he hated that he had to stand there and watch other people have the time of their lives while he worked a job he despised. Tonight, he was looking for any reason to flex his authority. Any reason at all. As Marcus moved through the security checkpoint, his phone buzzed. It was his mom. "Have the best time, sweetheart. Your dad would be so proud." Marcus's eyes welled up, and he paused to type a quick response. That's when Derek spotted him. "Move it! You're holding up the line!" Derek barked, his voice cutting through the crowd noise like a knife. Marcus looked up, startled. "Sorry, I don't care what you just. Move. Now." But would Marcus's simple mistake really escalate into something nobody saw coming? Marcus hurried through, but his hands were shaking. As he walked through the metal detector, he forgot to take his wallet chain off, a simple chain his dad had given him, nothing dangerous, just sentimental. The detector beeped. Derek's eyes lit up like he'd just won the lottery. "Stop right there." "Oh, sorry, it's just my chain." Marcus reached to unhook it. "Don't move!" Derek shouted, stepping forward aggressively. Other security guards turned to look, confused. The protocol for a wallet chain was simple. Ask them to remove it, scan again, done. But Derek had other plans. He grabbed Marcus by the shoulder hard. "You trying to bring a weapon in here, kid?" "What? No, it's just a wallet chain, I can show you. Turn around, hands behind your back." Derek's fingers dug into Marcus's shoulder, spinning him around roughly. The teenager stumbled, and his phone clattered to the concrete floor, screen shattering into a spiderweb of cracks. A crowd was forming now. People were filming. Marcus's face burned with humiliation and fear. "Please, sir, I didn't mean to. Shut up." Derek wrenched Marcus's arms behind his back, way harder than necessary. The kid winced in pain. "You're done. You're not getting into this concert." Marcus's world collapsed in that moment. 6 months, all that sacrifice, his dad's shirt, the last connection he had to those memories. Gone. Because of a wallet chain and a bully with a badge, tears streamed down Marcus's face. "Please, I saved so long for this. Please." Derek leaned in close, his breath hot on Marcus's ear. "Should have thought about that before you tried to sneak weapons in here, huh? Maybe you'll learn some respect." The other security guards shifted uncomfortably. One started to step forward. "Derek, man, it's just a chain. Stay out of it, Rodriguez. I'm handling this." Could it really end like this? Was Marcus's dream about to die right there in the parking lot? What nobody knew, not Derek, not Marcus, not any of the rubbernecking crowd, was that Ozzy Osbourne himself had arrived early to the venue. He liked to walk around before shows, get a feel for the crowd's energy, maybe sign a few autographs by the tour buses where security was lighter. Ozzy was wearing dark sunglasses, a simple black hoodie, and jeans, completely incognito. His wife Sharon had convinced him to take these little walks. "It grounds you, Ozzy, reminds you who you're performing for." So there he was, smoking a cigarette by the side entrance, watching the crowd funnel in. And that's when he saw it. A massive security guard manhandling a skinny kid in a Black Sabbath shirt. The kid was crying, actually crying. And the guard... He had this sick smile on his face, like he was enjoying every second of it. Ozzy's blood ran cold. He'd been bullied as a kid back in Birmingham, beaten up for being different, for his dyslexia, for being poor. He knew exactly what that powerless feeling was like. And seeing it happen right in front of him, at his concert, to a fan wearing his shirt? Something inside the Prince of Darkness snapped. He crushed his cigarette under his boot and started walking toward the commotion. His security detail noticed and hurried to follow, but Ozzy waved them back. "I got this," he muttered. "What do you think happened when these two worlds collided?" Ozzy walked right up to the scene, and his voice, that unmistakable Birmingham accent, cut through everything. "Owie, what the bloody hell is going on here?" Derek turned, annoyed at the interruption. "Nothing that concerns you, buddy. Move along." He didn't recognize him. In the chaos and with the sunglasses and hoodie, Derek Hannigan had no idea he was talking to Ozzy Osbourne, but the crowd did. Phones immediately pointed in their direction. A wave of whispers rippled outward. "Oh my God, that's Ozzy! Holy!" Ozzy stepped closer, taking off his sunglasses. His eyes locked onto Derek's. "I asked you a question, mate. What are you doing to this kid?" Derek's face twisted with irritation. "Security matter. This kid tried to bring a weapon in. Now if you don't..." He paused, and recognition finally dawned on his face. His expression went from annoyed to confused to cocky in about 3 seconds. "Wait, are you Ozzy Osbourne? Last time I checked, yeah." For a split second, Derek looked starstruck. Then his ego kicked back in, even stronger. Now he had an audience. Now he could show off in front of a celebrity. "Well, Mr. Osbourne, even rock stars don't get to interfere with security protocols. I'm doing my job." Ozzy looked at Marcus, who was staring at him with wide, tear-filled eyes. The kid looked like he'd seen a ghost. Ozzy gave him a small nod. "I got you," then turned back to Derek. Your job is to protect people, not abuse them." Ozzy's voice was steady but had an edge that could cut glass. "Let the kid go, now." Would Derek really have the audacity to refuse Ozzy Osbourne to his face? Derek's jaw clenched. He was in too deep now to back down, especially with hundreds of people filming. "With all due respect, sir, I don't take orders from performers. I take orders from venue management. This kid's a security risk." Ozzy looked at Marcus's wallet chain, then back at Derek. "A security risk? It's a bloody wallet chain, you muppet. My grandmother has one scarier than that." Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Derek's face went red. Mr. C's went red. "Osbourne, I'm going to have to ask you to step back." "Or what?" Ozzy stepped forward instead. "You gonna throw me out? Go on then. Try it. I'd love to see you explain to 15,000 people and your boss why there's no show tonight because you decided to be a tough guy." You could hear a pin drop despite the crowd of hundreds. Derek's hand was still gripping Marcus's shoulder. His other hand twitched toward his radio, probably thinking about calling for backup. One of the other security guards, Rodriguez, finally spoke up louder. "Derek, man, just let the kid go." "This is crazy." "Shut up, Rodriguez." Ozzy pointed at Derek's hand on Marcus. "Take your hand off him." Something in Ozzy's voice, the absolute authority, the complete lack of fear, made Derek's confidence crack. His hand loosened slightly. "Let him go, mate. You've had your fun. It's done." Could this really end without fists flying? That's when Sharon Osbourne appeared, pushing through the crowd like a force of nature. Sharon had heard the commotion from inside and came running. "Ozzy, what?" She took in the scene instantly, the crying kid, the aggressive guard. her husband looking like he was about to throw a punch. Oh, bloody hell. Sharon immediately pulled out her phone and called someone. Within 30 seconds, the venue manager came sprinting out, a balding, sweaty man named Tom, who looked like he was having the worst day of his life. "Mr. Osbourne! Mrs. Osbourne! I am so sorry. What's happening here?" Sharon pointed at Derek. "That's what's happening. That security guard is assaulting a teenage fan over a wallet chain." Tom's eyes went wide. He looked at Derek, at Marcus, at the hundreds of phones filming, at Ozzy's furious face, and you could literally see him doing the math on how badly this could destroy the venue's reputation. "Derek, release him, now." "But sir, I was just—" "Now, Derek, you're done. Go to the office." "We'll discuss your employment status after the show." Derek, finally, let go of Marcus. The kid stumbled forward, free but shaking. Derek shot Ozzy a look of pure hatred before stomping off toward the venue offices, his career likely over. But the story doesn't end there. What do you think Ozzy did next? Ozzy turned to Marcus, who was still trembling, tears still on his cheeks. "You all right, son?" Marcus could barely speak. I can't believe. Easy. Ozzy put a gentle hand on his shoulder. The same shoulder Derek had been crushing moments before, but this touch was kind, protective. "What's your name?" "Marcus. Marcus Chen." "Marcus! That's a strong name. Roman Emperor name." Ozzy smiled. Marcus looked down at his dad's shirt and nodded, fresh tears coming. "My dad, he passed away 2 years ago. He got me into your music. It's all I have left of him. And I saved for 6 months to come tonight, and I thought I'd ruined it." Ozzy's expression softened completely. Sharon put her hand over her heart. Even some of the crew members watching had tears in their eyes. "Oi, Marcus, look at me." Ozzy waited until Marcus met his eyes. "You didn't ruin anything. That bully tried to steal your night, but he failed. You're coming to this show. You're going to have the best bloody night of your life, yeah?" Marcus nodded, unable to speak. Sharon stepped forward. "How would you like to watch the show from backstage? VIP access, meet the band, the whole thing." Marcus's legs nearly gave out. Are you serious?" "Dead serious," Ozzy said. "And after the show, if you want, we can call your mum, and I'll tell her what a brave kid she's raised. Your dad would be proud of you, Marcus. Standing up against bullies even when you're scared? That's real strength. What would you do if your worst moment suddenly became your best moment?" That night's concert was one for the history books. Ozzy brought Marcus on stage during "Mama, I'm Coming Home." The crowd went absolutely insane when Ozzy told them the story, the bullying, the confrontation, everything. Marcus stood there under the lights, wearing his dad's oversized shirt, tears streaming down his face again, but this time from pure joy. The footage went viral within hours. Ozzy Saves the Fan trended worldwide. News outlets picked it up. Late-night shows talked about it. But more importantly, thousands of people shared their own stories of being bullied, being saved, being seen. Derek Hannigan was fired that night. The venue issued a formal apology and overhauled their security training. 3 other people came forward with complaints about Derek's behavior at previous jobs, leading to a deeper investigation into how he kept getting hired despite his record. As for Marcus, Ozzy and Sharon stayed in touch with him. They helped him apply to colleges, and when Marcus started a non-profit organization helping teens who'd lost parents, the Osbournes were his first major donors. That oversized Black Sabbath shirt? Marcus had it framed with a photo from that night, him and Ozzy on stage, both throwing up the devil horns, both grinning like maniacs. But here's what really mattered. Years later, in an interview, Marcus was asked what he remembered most about that night. Everyone expected him to talk about being on stage, or meeting his hero, or the viral fame. Instead, he said this: "What I remember most is that moment when Ozzy put his hand on my shoulder, right where that guard had been hurting me, and he was so gentle, so kind. Not as a fan or a problem or a ticket sale, as a person, as someone who mattered. That's what changed everything for me. Not the concert, not the VIP treatment, that moment when someone with power chose to use it to protect instead of hurt. Ozzy, when asked about it later on a podcast, got uncharacteristically serious. Look, I've done a lot of crazy things in my life. Bitter bat, snorted Ants. All that mad stuff. But helping that kid? That's the thing I'm most proud of, because I remember what it's like to be powerless. And I swore if I ever had power, I'd use it to stand up for people who couldn't stand up for themselves. That's what being human is about. Everything else is just noise. The venue manager, Tom, implemented new policies after that night: mandatory de-escalation training, better oversight of security personnel, and a direct hotline for fans to report abuse. 3 other major venues adopted similar policies after seeing the positive response. And Derek? Well, his story became a cautionary tale in security circles. This story isn't really about Ozzy Osbourne being a hero, though he was. It's not even really about Derek Hannigan being a villain, though he was. It's about something bigger. It's about how we treat people when we have power over them. It's about choosing kindness when you could choose cruelty. It's about standing up even when it's uncomfortable, even when it would be easier to walk away. Marcus could have just given up and gone home. Ozzy could have stayed by the tour buses, avoiding the drama. But they didn't. And because they didn't, something beautiful happened in the middle of something ugly. Every single day, we make choices, small ones mostly. Do we help the person who dropped their groceries? Do we speak up when we see something wrong? Do we use our influence, however small, to make someone's day better or worse? Derek Hannigan had power that night. He could have been patient, kind, understanding. Instead, he chose to be cruel, and it cost him everything. Ozzy Osbourne had power that night too, way more power actually. And he chose to use it to protect a crying kid who just wanted to see a concert, and it cost him nothing but 5 minutes of his time. But it gave Marcus and millions of people who heard the story something priceless: hope. So here's my question for you. When was the last time you had power over a situation, even a small one? Did you use it to build someone up or tear them down? That night in Detroit changed 3 lives forever. It ended one man's career, it saved one teenager's faith in humanity, and it reminded one rock legend why he'd gotten into music in the first place, to make people feel less alone. But the ripple effects are still going, because Marcus's non-profit has now helped over 10,000 teens dealing with grief, because venue security protocols changed across the country. Because millions of people were reminded that kindness matters, that standing up matters, that being seen matters. All because one man decided that being kind was more important than being powerful. All because one teenager didn't let a bully steal his joy. All because, in a world that often feels dark and cruel, sometimes, just sometimes, the good guys win. And if Ozzy Osbourne can be a hero, what's stopping you? Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever witnessed someone being bullied or mistreated? Did you step in, or do you wish you had? Drop your story in the comments below. And if you've ever been in Marcus's shoes, if someone stood up for you when you couldn't stand up for yourself, tell us about that too. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Because that's what this is really about. All of us, choosing to be a little more like Ozzy in that moment, and a little less like Derek. One choice at a time, one person at a time. Marcus still has Ozzy's personal number. They text each other on Father's Day every year. Marcus sends a photo of what he's accomplished, and Ozzy always responds with the same message. Your old man is proud. I'm proud. Now go do something mental and make it count. What would your text to Ozzy say if you had his number? Comment below.